Alrighty. Well, I won't say good morning because I've been at this all day. This is my living room currently. I've got a ton of stuff out here. And then if we walk through here, we've got more stuff over here. All of this has come out of the garage, which doesn't even look that empty, to be honest. We'll walk over there now and take a look. I'm starting now to bring stuff back into the garage. So there is quite a lot of empty space in here. It doesn't really come across on camera, but there is a lot of empty space. The table is now here, the work table. That was right here before. Here before. Now there's going to be a shelf there, and then a row of shelves there. There'll be space in between, so that the wall and the shelf, there'll be an aisle there. And then it's going to come around and do an L, sort of ending right over here. And yeah, then I've decided not to tackle this corner today, this weekend. This corner is actually not terrible. It's kind of exactly how I want it. It has, in there's a little paint station that I can use when it's nice outside. I open the window, I can paint right there. The breeze comes in. That's great. And you know, that's the area that we've done the what's in that box a couple times in. And honestly, it's not that bad. It's not perfectly organized, but it's fine. So leaving that for today, we are going to be taking all of the terrain that is the clubs, and that's going to be leaving this facility, our house, and going elsewhere. And so that will free up a lot of space, and then all the other stuff is going to come in back in here and hopefully be a little more organized and give a little more walking space in the garage itself and make me feel less anxious every time I think about it. Maybe not that part. I'll probably still be just as anxious, but you never know. But yeah, I'm not sure what else is going to be in the episode today. This could be could be it. I'll come back and do an outro at least, but this might be it for today. I'm not sure I'm going to get to painting. I may get everything back in here, semi-organized, and then go to bed. Well, probably watch some football, and then go to bed. And then Steelers play tomorrow, first game of the season. Going to beat the Jets. Although, as you watch this today, they may have already beaten the Jets by the time you see this. That would be awesome. And then tomorrow, do a little bit more reorganization, and then probably paint something tomorrow. But who knows? Right now, as soon as this clip ends, you might be headed over to the paint desk, or you might be just seeing my face again, saying thank you for watching and goodbye. Who knows? All right. So as I said earlier, as I'm filming this, but yet in yesterday's episode, as you're seeing this, yesterday's episode got a little bit long before I got to my painting, so I pushed yesterday's painting into today's episode. Today, I thought I would do something that I sort of touched on in a previous episode, and I think it's actually the best performing episode of this series so far, which was the episode talking about you don't have to do the YouTuber thing of buy the whole paint set, like when a new paint set comes out. You can combine different tools to make your workflow work for you. And so I'm going to do just a really quick example of that, of how you can combine tools to make your workflow easy. So I'm just going to use this. This is the white primed marine that I did the weathering on. What was that, 2 days ago now? And I'm just going to paint his backpack here. But I'm just going to use 3 colors for this. I'm going to start with Azerman Blue, a contrast paint. Then I'm going to do some edge highlighting with Russian Cockpit Turquoise from AK's Real Color Marker series. And then I'm just going to use some matte white from the Army Painter. And so I'm using very specifically 3 different products: a contrast paint, then a pen or a paint marker, and then a Words are hard. And then a regular paint to kind of highlight the different, how you can use different tools to work in conjunction to make your painting life easier. And so if you just bought, say you bought all the contrast paint. Well, contrast is a bad example because you're not intended necessarily to use them for like highlighting or edge highlighting and stuff like that. But let's just say you bought the entire Army Painter Fanatic line. To do this same thing, you would have to base coat this miniature, or this backpack in this case, in a blue, which, not necessarily difficult, but it will take longer than using this contrast paint. I don't think anyone would deny that the contrast paint does a base coat quicker than regular paint. So you do that, and then you would come to edge highlighting, and you'd grab another paint, and you'd have to be very careful with your brush, and just very carefully move along the edges and stuff, and then finally come back to your third paint and do your little spot highlights. Well, in this case, we're going to very quickly, as you saw, base coat with this paint. Then we're going to use our paint marker to do some edge highlights, being very careful, but not as careful, or we don't have to be as careful as we would if we were using a paintbrush. I talked about this in a previous episode, how it's much easier to edge highlight with a pen like this than it is with a brush. You do sometimes have to turn your miniature a strange direction to get the proper angle, but that's okay. It is worth it in the end. This I have used this paint marker on a couple larger surfaces, so the tip isn't as sharp as it would be if you saved this for edge highlighting, which is probably what I would recommend. Get a brush that's going to be, especially if you're painting an army, get your edge highlighting brush or your edge highlighting pen marker that will be the edge highlight color for your army, and just only use it for edge highlights. Don't use it to paint terrain also, like I was. Just grab these couple edges here. And then, let me grab these right there. See, my tip on this marker is a little bigger than it should be because it's been worn down. But if you just used your marker for edge highlighting, that obviously wouldn't be the case. And then finally, we come in with our matte white, and we just do our spot highlights. If you're not sure what a spot highlight is, it's basically where you highlight the very corner of your edge highlights, often but not always with a bright white. You can do just a bright version of whatever you edge highlighted with. My edge highlight color is already pretty light though, so realistically it's going to be white or something that is going to read as white in the final result. Space Marine Backpack in particular can be a little difficult to spot highlight because there are a lot of curves on it. Curves don't have corners that you can easily spot highlight, but as you saw there, I just kind of approximated the middle of each section, and we're good to go. Just grab these last couple here. And we've got a couple on the front. Again, this curve, I'm just going to sort of approximate the middle. There we go. And then right here. And there you've got a nice Space Marine backpack, admittedly with slightly larger edge highlights right here than you necessarily want, so my paint marker is a little worn out. But nice highlights, spot highlight, and we used three different tools here. We used a contrast paint for easy base coating, a paint marker for easy edge highlighting, and then finally just a regular paint for just the spot highlights. And I think that'll be about it for this tutorial, and no need to go longer than it needs to be. Obviously, you could then apply this to all over the miniature. You could also apply this to plenty of other things that aren't Space Marines. Space Marines, I think, are probably a lot of people's go-to for painting tutorials. Probably, I assume, for the same reason that they're my go-to, is because there's just so many of them just laying around collecting dust, essentially. But, yeah, I'm not sure if this will be the end of the video. There'll probably be more content in this video, so I won't do my outro yet. But, yeah, that's been a quick tutorial on how to use mixed mediums to get the job done. Alrighty, well, the garage cleanup project got away from me a little bit. So that is going to be the end of this episode. Although I forgot, I talked about in my intro, that this episode would probably just be that and an outro. I forgot that I filmed a painting tutorial yesterday, purposely to include in this episode. So I will do that. It is, well, I should say, I'll do that. You've already seen it. This is the outro. Anyway, yeah, I filmed that yesterday to include in this episode. So now you've seen that. This is now the outro. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you tomorrow.